Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well. In this week's video, I'm going to focus more on what I plan to do on the next training cycle, more so than anything else. So some ideas that I've been having for how I want to approach the next cycle of training, so after the March 10th competition, is some of the following ideas. So the first one is really to prioritize squatting and pressing. That much seems obvious. If I'm focusing on building that strength, that should come before I do other movements. But one of the ways that I want to use that to prioritize, one, like I just said, to put them first, but also to help prioritize that is to do complexes and different things to make snatches and clean and jerks still difficult, but to work on things that I struggled at. So thanks for snatches. I don't really want to touch that too much because they're going extremely well, but I do want to add in some accessory work or accessory movements such as snatch balances, the snatch push press, and overhead squats and things like that to the weeks that I will be doing them, or focus on the strength to continue to improve my biggest weakness in the snatch, which is my shoulder strength, which is something that is just a deficit in general relative to even my legs now, which is kind of a nice thing to have because it's a pretty easy thing to focus and work on. For clean and jerks, I want to focus less on doing clean and jerks all together all the time and split them apart more often. So it could be things like doing two cleans. Same with snatches, like doing a double snatch to a max or to a heavy double is something I want to do. But like a heavy clean double, or maybe a clean plus hang clean, or maybe a clean plus front squat, something like that, just to isolate the movement without the overhead component. With the overhead component, I want to start making that be a separate focus. So I may do some jerks from the rack or some sort of complex out of the rack to help isolate that movement and help to isolate and push up that movement in particular. Because if I'm able to increase my clean, increase my jerk, then obviously the clean and jerk would lead to then follow to increase or whatever. But that's kind of for those two particular movements. Some other adjustments that I will most likely make is treating my back squats more based on an RPE based on how my back is staying upright and less about the grinding of the movement, since I want to make it be focused on the targeting of the quads versus my back. I can do pulls and stuff to work on my back. And speaking of pulls, I'm going to continue to do the pulls that are programmed in, but I want to adjust one of the days, probably every other week, while I'll do something that's more deadlift focused. So something that is much more maximal relative to any sort of clean pull that I would do. So something working in the 400 and even potentially even the 500 for some lower reps or higher reps or whatever. I'll have to figure that out how I want to approach that. But I do want to add that in, just not every week, because that is a problem that I have when I program for myself, is that I think week to week, which is not generally, it's not bad to do necessarily, but to not have that focus of multiple weeks and being able to spread out movements that are very taxing, like a deadlift, it tends to make myself be overworked. Another movement that I do want to add in is some close grip benching. It may be once a week, it may be every other week, but just to do a little bit of repetition work with that to mostly isolate the triceps and just to do a little benching. I don't think it will be horrible to do, particularly if I keep my grip more narrow and focus on the tricep part of the movement and not on the maximal weight that I'm doing. So I'm not particularly concerned with the weight that I'm pushing in that movement, just that I'm kind of using it as a hypertrophic movement for triceps, chest, and even shoulders a little bit. So I may add that in. I'm kind of undecided about that. I probably will do it a little bit. I may just kind of fall away from it and do more overhead pressing and things like that. But finding that if I do something like a bench press, then I'm able to overload that upper body component a little bit more than an overhead press because of the relative weight that you're doing. So may do that. Who knows? May add some things like rows in, but those are always kind of there, and I don't necessarily need much stronger of a back. I just need to continue to improve my strengths and really target my weaknesses. But as I move into the next training cycle, the squats, I want to do a lot of rep max work. So if work to a heavy set of 5 and then do some drop down sets. So things like that. But also, like I mentioned, the isolation of the different parts of the movement, whether that be snatch balances or rack jerks or cleans in isolation, things like that. I'll have to look to kind of adjust a program that I find with that. I'll probably look on Catalyst Athletics and find one and adjust it based off that since their general structure of their programming is really good. I just want to individualize it to really focus on my needs and really just work those up because honestly, right now I'm feeling near where I've felt my strongest, and I just want to continue that positive momentum into the next training cycle. Speaking of the next training cycle, or I guess past it, I'm thinking of doing a competition in June. So I have looked at one. There's a competition in Dayton, Ohio, that I may sign up to do. It will be based on how this competition goes and how I'm feeling about that. I may just not do that. I don't know. I would like to do 3 competitions this year. I think it's good for me to do them because it keeps me honest in my training, particularly to work to heavier weights where I don't just default going back to volume, but I actually like stick with the peak to hit some heavy weights, and it's been going really well as of now, as far as peaking for this competition that I have coming up. So I am very excited about that. I'm hitting some really good numbers. Not perfect in everything. I've hit some really good snatches, some really good clean and jerks. I've had some iffy clean and jerks. I've had some iffy snatches, but I'm building a lot of consistency, or at least I feel a lot more confident within the movement to where I can snatch and clean and jerk pretty much what I want up to a point, and then it becomes difficult because of the weight that I'm using with that. Snatches have been feeling particularly good, and clean and jerks I'm hoping are continuing to improve. I've definitely noticed the snatches started to feel really good sooner than the clean and jerks, but I think partially is due to the weight difference. So I'm going to do more weight in clean and jerks than the snatches, and the neural pathways or whatever are going to be more fatigued or more affected by doing just more general weight with the clean and jerks. I almost hit some pretty cool PRs today on the last training day of the week where I was trying to double 225 on the snatch and hit a 2+1 with the clean and jerk, which I think the 290 I was able to do for 2 sets is, if it's not a personal best, I don't know what it is because I haven't done 2 cleans plus a jerk in quite a while, and I don't think the last time I did it that heavy, nor did I do it for 2 sets at that weight. So 2 sets of 2+1 with 290. Then I tried 305, and I was able to clean it once, fail to clean, get the third attempt to clean, and then try a jerk, but I was gassed after that attempt. Cleans feel really good. Jerks are feeling better every time I do them. I've adjusted to where I'm spreading out my hands a little bit when I adjust my rack. Apologize, my phone's vibrating. And by doing that, it's just putting my hands in a better position. I think I just need to do that slightly. Nothing that's too crazy extreme. I mean, it's literally probably like 2 or 3 inches at the most. But I think it just puts my arms in a better position, decreases the range of motion slightly, and I don't know. It just feels good to have them there in that position. My squats and pulls are feeling fine. They're hard to do after going heavy on snatches and clean and jerks, so it'll be nice to isolate them after the competition to focus on improving them specifically and not just the snatches and clean and jerks, obviously. But yeah, I think that's really about it that I want to talk about. I really wanted to talk about programming itself and what my focuses will be for the next competition. I feel as good as I can. Like, I'm beat up in the sense that I have to lift heavy during this time, but the heavy weights are feeling really good, and I'm feeling really consistent and confident. I'm thinking for the competition I will do 102, 107, and then something above 110 or 110 itself, depending on how the attempts go then. And then for clean and jerks, I would like to open at 140, but I may open around 137-ish, and then jump up to like 143 or 144, and then make a jump to 150 or 151. I would like to hit my personal best, which is at 150 for the clean and jerk, but if I can't, then I would like to get something close to it. I believe the last competition I hit 145, and then I missed the clean on 151. So I mean, even if I got to 150 and cleaned it again, it'll be the first time since I've only ever cleaned the weight once, from my recollection. So getting better every day, improving. Feeling pretty good, and thankfully I don't have any inkling injuries, just general achiness, but that's to be expected when going heavier with weights. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you all in the next one, which will be sometime next week, unless I have some training clips that I throw up during the week. But I'll talk to you all in the next one. Peace.
Let's go. Stay tight.
I can stand on 2 boxes with like an 80-pound dumbbell and get the same.